Hey everyone, welcome back. Today I'm going to be sharing part 2 of last week's video, which was the rest of the lessons that have helped me heal. I shared a few different ones last week and I'll recap really quickly, but before I do that, just a quick introduction in case you're new here. My name is Chaitni. I am a health coach and a nutritionist. I help clients cope with weight management and stress management through healthy habit formation, positive lifestyle changes, and healthy eating practices like intuitive eating and mindful eating. All of this is done without dieting, no crash diets, no restrictions, none of that. If you enjoy this video, then please make sure to like, subscribe, and especially share with someone who might benefit from it. And if you're more of a reader, I send out bi-weekly blogs that are more about my personal journey and really about self-discovery, self-love, and self-care. So if that's more of your jam, make sure to sign up for that. The link for that is in the description. And lastly, you can follow me on Instagram at Imperfect Bodies by C Modi. Okay, so with that, I'm going to move on to the rest of the lessons, but just a quick recap of the lessons I shared last week, and there were 3 of them. One of them was let go of what is out of your control. So really focus on what you can control and let the rest go. It'll make your life so much easier. Number 2 is, trust the process even when it hurts. Especially when things are painful in the moment, they're actually going to lead to something that is so much better and so much more valuable. So yes, in the moment, it feels really crappy, but you will get to a point where it won't anymore. In fact, it'll feel even better. So trust that process. And then number 3 is every downfall is a lesson. So learn it the first time, or else you're gonna have to learn it over and over and over again, because the universe doesn't really give up when it comes to lessons. So those are the 3 that I shared. If you want more details, go back and listen to that video, please. Today I'll be sharing the rest of them, as well as one bonus lesson that is actually my absolute favorite. So number 4 is life is lifelong, so stop fighting it. What I mean by that is, have you ever said, oh my God, this just never ends, it's always something, it's always one thing or another? Well, welcome to life. That's really what life is, and welcome to adulting as well. There will always be something, there is either the oil change that you need to do for your car, or there might be a flat tire, or something at home needs repairing, or you have a parent that's fallen ill, or a child that's fallen ill. There will always be something. So you can't change that, because you really, no matter how much you try, you cannot control a lot of that. But what you can control is your perspective. So stop fighting it, just learn to accept this is life. There will be new fires to put out every single day, but you can do that with a little bit more clarity, by reframing the situation. You can also do it with a little bit more gratitude, sometimes being thankful for having that flat tire while you're close to a car shop, or maybe it's your child not really feeling well, but at least you're not traveling with a sick child. So it's having a little bit of that gratitude, and also having a lot of humor. You have to have a sense of humor. You have to be able to laugh at these small things, because truly none of this is going to matter in 5 weeks or 5 months or even 5 years. And some of it, it will matter. Yes, there might be really severe illnesses, or you might lose your home because of the fires or some kind of natural disaster, and that will happen. But again, that is life. And again, in those situations, you can reframe, you can use gratitude, and you can use some semblance of humor. So remember that there is no end to this. There will always be something to deal with. You can't control that, but you can definitely control your attitude. So life is lifelong. Lesson number 5 is taking my health seriously. This was a huge game changer for me. I was somebody who really tended to skip meals, who didn't eat very well, who had sugar cravings. When I would go to a restaurant, instead of looking at the entrees, I would look at the dessert section first. I used to always say, I only work out so I can eat chocolate. But as soon as that changed, and I started looking at food as something that nourishes me and helps me, with my moods, and it helps me with my mental health as well as physical health, my relationship with food and myself changed. So it's very important for me to move my body, because I know that's a stress buster for me. I'm not obsessed with working out, but I do need to move my body, whether it's a walk or whether it's resistance training or whether it's some kind of cardio that I'm doing, because it mentally, it really helps me feel better. And it's about not skipping meals. You know, I have my 3 meals a day, and in between, if I'm hungry, then yes, I'm snacking. It's really about listening to my body, understanding what it needs, and starting to understand what makes it feel good and what doesn't make it feel good. And really not just my body, even my mind. You know, when I stopped eating as much sugar as I used to eat in cakes and cookies and anything sweet, I all of a sudden, you know, my brain fog had gone. I was a lot more clearer. I was a lot calmer. Again, I was able to regulate my emotions better. So a lot of that changed for me. So my health really is non-negotiable. You know, another aspect of this, especially now that I'm 40, is trying not to freak out about menopause, trying not to freak out about cellulite, trying not to freak out about aging, and all of that, you know, that's going to happen. So that is something else that I'm working on now is, okay, instead of worrying about what is going to happen and what might happen, it's going back to lesson number 1, you know, let me control what I can. You know, can I control how well I eat? Can I control how well I move? Can I control how well I sleep? Can I control, you know, if I'm isolating or if I'm being social, because that's an important part of health as well. So it's not taking my health for granted. That is a very, very important lesson. It's the foundation of everything that you do, and that's lesson number 5. Number 6 will come as no surprise to you. It is get uncomfortable, because that is where the growth is. Now, I'm not just talking about, you know, pushing yourself professionally, but it's also getting uncomfortable with the uncomfortable feelings. If that means going to therapy, then yes, doing it on a consistent basis. You know, if that means coming face to face with those emotions that make you feel really icky and really uncomfortable, then doing that work. You know, understanding those feelings, getting to the bottom of it, not just trying to shove them aside or put a lid on them. So that is where that discomfort really matters, because that is where the healing is going to happen. That is where the growth is going to happen. Did I mention therapy? So therapy is wonderful. Finding the right therapist matters, but if that is something that you need, please do not shy away from it. Please, please, please consider therapy. It can be life-changing. You know, another part of that, yes, it is professional and it is personal, is being able to get out of your comfort zone just a little bit. You don't need to change overnight. You know, it might be going to some kind of meetup that you're kind of shy about going to, but you want to check it out. Well, let that shy person go and just go and check it out. You can always have an out. You can always get away, you know, 15 minutes into it if it's not for you. But that's where you start to get a little uncomfortable. When it comes to your profession, obviously it's, you know, maybe applying for that job that you think maybe you're just a little bit not fit for, and, you know, or having an interview, a phone interview, an interview in person, and seeing how you do and learning from it and growing from it. So lots of different ways that you can go professionally and personally. You know, I'm going to share a personal anecdote. I am a complete, I'm very private as a person, and I don't like to put a lot of stuff out there, even though I've shared some personal stories with you on this episode and the last episode. But in general, I like to keep my private life private. However, when I started this business, I knew I needed to get on social media. It was going to be one channel for me to market myself, to get out there, to connect with people. And I was very shy. I was very scared about it, but I did it. If you look at some of my very first Instagram posts and you look at the post today, it's been such a journey. Today, you know, getting on camera and recording, or getting on camera and posting on Instagram or, you know, any other social media channels, it doesn't feel that overwhelming as it did when I first started it. But it's obviously taken a few years. You know, I think it's taken 3 or 4 years now for me to get here. So I knew I had to take that step, and if it was really uncomfortable and it was really scary, and I did overthink it, but it was about just doing it and getting out there and then getting better over time. So get uncomfortable. It will serve you very well. And number 6, the bonus one, like I said, this is my favorite. It is follow your heart. But You can only do that when you have connected with your heart. So that means doing work on yourself and really getting to know yourself. So you can start to connect with your gut feelings. You can start to connect with your intuition, and you can start to trust that voice that's telling you what to do instead of doubting it, or instead of shutting it down, or instead of criticizing it. So it takes a little bit to get there, but follow your heart, even if what you want to do is so different from what everybody else is telling you. You will know in your heart what feels right. So follow that when you get to that point. Like I said, this is my favorite piece of advice, and my father gave it to me. And it took me a while to get there, because there was a time where I felt like no matter what I did, no matter which decision I took, it just wasn't right. But again, it's because I was doing it for everybody else. I really wasn't listening to me. I wasn't listening to what I wanted. I wasn't listening to what I needed. So once I started to do that, that trust with myself was reestablished, and I was in a better place where I could make better decisions for myself. And not just that, a big part of following your heart is owning your decisions and owning the consequences. Because why are we afraid to make decisions? Because we are so worried that if things don't work out, what are we going to do? But when you go through these lessons that I've shared with you, and when you really start to heal, you develop this confidence in yourself. You surrender to whatever may happen, and you trust that no matter what, you're going to land on your feet, that that's going to happen. You know, as long as you give it your best, and as long as you're doing what you're supposed to do and controlling what you can, you will land up where you need to land up. So a big part of following your heart is owning those decisions and being ready to face whatever consequences hit you. So I've shared a bunch of lessons with you from part 1, part 2. Like I said, these were very personal, and these have been my tools. They're not just lessons, they're really tools that I use even today, and they have had a huge positive impact on my life, how I view myself and how I interact with the rest of the world. So I hope you can benefit from them. I hope one of them at least resonated with you. Take one, just start with something small and start to introspect, start to think over it, and see how you can make that change in your life. I promise you it'll be for the better. As always, thank you for tuning in. I'm always grateful for that. Take really good care of yourself until I see you again, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks, and bye.